Okay. I have talked a lot. That's going to be in like the upcoming podcast episodes for the Monday episodes about boundaries and setting boundaries. And a common question that I get is, how do you set boundaries? And it really took me a long time to truly understand what a boundary was. And maybe this was you, because this is kind of how I felt. And so let's talk about what boundaries are in this quick little pep talk. But boundaries are this like your own. Do you like me stumbling over my words here? I've got my thoughts gathered now, so I'll start talking. Boundaries are your own personal rule that helps you protect your time, your energy, your feelings, your life, like whatever it is, right? It tells other people how you want to be treated. And so I just want to put that out there because I think that one of the biggest misconceptions about boundaries is they are made to control other people, that they are this sort of like, um, oh my gosh, what is the word I'm looking for? Ultimatum. They are an ultimatum. They are an ultimatum to try to control people too. Like I've heard this, I've heard like, well, isn't that like an ultimatum? I'm trying to control the other person. I'm trying to do this, like whatever it is. No, it's not. Boundaries are an act of love. I've said this again on another podcast on one of the regular episodes this month. You're going to hear it again, but they are. That is what my coach told me, that her therapist had told her. And my therapist has always told me that boundaries are for me, that boundaries are to protect me, that boundaries have nothing to do with trying to control other people. And so I just wanted to like give you that because why? Why we feel so guilty setting boundaries, and why, like, where were we taught that they are to control other people? Like, that's a question I've kind of been asking myself, because I think you have to ask that for yourself. But for me, where was I taught that boundaries were to control other people? And really pick that apart. And I haven't completely found my answer yet, because actually that thought kind of occurred to me as I was like creating this. I was just like, why? And so just know it's your own personal role and it tells other people how you will be treated. And so I just wanted to give you a few ideas because once it clicked for me, the examples came so easily. Like, I think I spent a lot of time. You know how we ask our kids, this is why I created my boundary chart, like my little chore chart for kids, because it took me a really long time to understand how to navigate consequences for my kids and how to put boundaries and expectations in place without them feeling like it was trying to control. And I told a story a while back because my little boy actually did say one time, he said, "Mom, why why do you try to force us to do things?" And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Can you tell me a little bit more about that?" And he's like, "Well, it's like you do this or this happens, or you do this or this gets taken away or whatever." And so I got to explain to him, like, no, these are just boundaries. There are expectations within this house. We are all a part of the team. And if we don't all play a part on the team, then one person is having to do it all. And do you feel like one person wants to do all of the work to keep the team and the household running and all of the stuff? And he was like, well, no. And I was like, that's what they're here for. I said, it is not to force you to do anything, because he still has a choice, right? You can get your tasks done, or we're not going to play switch time. We're not going to get switch time today. He can choose. He can choose, right? Oh, I don't care if I lose my switch time. I don't want to do my chores today. Great, right? Um, but I had to find a boundary that he really hated losing. And so for a while it was switch time. He hated losing switch time. It's also been like during like spring, fall, when it's not super hot, even summer when it was hot. I mean, not Phoenix hot, but like when we were still living in Utah. Um, it'd be like, you actually won't be able to play with your friends after school today. And so this is where this piece comes in. That's like, we're also teaching them to internally motivate themselves, because they don't care if the house is clean. We do. And so how can we get them to care? Well, they care to play with their friends. So it's like, okay, well, if we want to go do fun things, then we all have to pull our weight. And so I just wanted to give you those examples. And then I have a couple more examples of just some really healthy boundaries that you can be able to set in your life. And just know another issue with a lot of moms, myself included. I no longer do this anymore. Every now and then I do. I actually noticed myself doing this with my husband the other day, and I was like, I am over explaining myself to you. But we do not have to over explain anything. We do not have to explain ourselves. No is a complete sentence. We can be kind, we can be polite, but saying no when someone asks for a favor, like, hey, I am so sorry. I'm actually just like, no, I don't have the capacity to help you with that. But good luck. Like, I'm sure you'll find somebody, like, I'm so sorry. I don't have the capacity to help you with that. Period. Right? And we don't have to apologize. I think I apologized at the first of that, but I don't have the capacity to help you with that. Um, it could be asking your partner to handle bedtime when you need a break as a mom. Hey, babe, can you get the kids to bed tonight? Can I just like sit on the couch and read a book? Really? Really? That is as simple as it can be. I am learning. I am learning. This is like the best thing ever. Um, but I just believe that most of us have husbands who truly want to help. Like if they are good human beings and not dicks, right? Like there is abuse, and I this is not speaking to any of that, but I truly believe that a lot of us, like one, if you're here doing the personal development work, that you probably have a pretty supportive husband who deep down wants to support you and just doesn't know how. And so by you asking straightforward questions like, hey, would you mind handling bedtime tonight? Like, can I have a break from that? Can I go get in the bath? Can I go take a bubble bath? Can I do whatever? And then you kiss your kids goodnight and you say, mommy's going to go get in the bath, but daddy's going to do bedtime, and you're going to have so much fun with him. And you go get in the bath and no longer have to feel guilty, right? Um, but it took me a while to get to this place with my partner, and it took my partner a while to get to this place. This is a bonus in my program. I teach all about this, but it's in Mom Life Mastery. It's great. It's a great little module because we have to understand each other too. And we have to get to a place. Sometimes we have to get ourselves to a place where we feel like it's okay to have this need, right? And so that's what we do in that piece. But I just wanted to touch on that here and let you know that there's more. If you want more support with that, I offer it. Um, Letting friends know, hey, I'm actually only going to answer your texts during the day. I will not answer text messages at night. And you can give a specific time. I do not answer calls or text messages after 9 p.m. If it's an emergency, obviously, there's like things, and you get to use your own discretion with that, right? But I'm not available at night. That's my time with my family. We're not going to explain this, but I'm like telling you that this gets to be your time with your family. This is where you get to start deciding how your life looks and feels. And so if you are constantly bombarded with text messages from a friend who's always needing stuff, or like, hey, I'm shopping, which looks better, blah, 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 and they're sending you pictures, you don't have to answer that. That's not important in the moment. They can buy both and take one back and get your opinion later, right? All right. So letting your kids know you'll be able to help them with their homework after you have finished your matcha or whatever you're currently doing. I say matcha because I always have my matcha. I have my matcha in my hand right here. For those of you watching the video, you'll see it. Maybe you heard my straw clink. I bought these cute little glasses that have the glass straw, and I'm like obsessed. Some other boundaries that we have in our house is for our kids. If any one of their grades falls below a C, their phones get shut off. Like we take their phones. No phone for you until that grade comes back up above a C. For me, I set this expectation because I feel like anything below a C, you're just being lazy. I am not the mom who expects my kids to get straight A's at all. I don't. I do not. I have a whole podcast episode on this, but I do not love the public school system. I really don't. I think it teaches them very black and white behavior. You're either right or you're wrong. There's no gray area. There's no room for students' strengths. Like, hey, maybe you're really good at math. Like for me, I sucked at math. I was really bad at math. Um, I did work my tail off in math to get the good grade, but that's because I chose to. My mom never had these expectations of me. I just chose to apply myself the way that I did. And I have kids that love school and I have kids that like hate it. And so it's like what works for them, what works for us. And so for me, I was like, you know what? A C. If anything falls below a C, you're going to lose your phone. And so they know the expectation. I don't have to nag at them. If you're getting the picture now, these are like some of the some of the things that we implement into our home to just help me. And so, yeah, they lose their phone until it comes up. And then here is just a really cool story that I want to share with you. This is getting really long, longer than I anticipated this one to be, but I did not realize, because I want you to think about, our kids really watch our actions. Our kids, we are the example, and we can speak to them until we are blue in the face, telling them all the things that we want them to accomplish and do in their lives and whatever. But our actions speak louder than words. And the other day, my girls come home, and I have one that's like, they're both in high school. One's a senior and one is a freshman. And she has wrestling for her last period of school. And Kenna, my oldest, she just got a job. And so she has to be there at 3. Well, they get out of school at 2:12, and they typically don't make it home until about 2:42 by the time they like walk. They have to walk because we moved here late. We did not have the opportunity to buy a parking pass at the school, and they only have like 700 spots for like 1,000 kids or something. Um, and so they have to walk a couple blocks to a church where they park. And my other daughter, who's in wrestling, she was a little bit slower coming out. And so Kenna told her, hey, if you can't make it to the car on time, then you're going to have to ride the bus home. And I am not going to lie, that did not hit me until days later. And then I was like, babe, our daughter put a boundary in place. We did not provoke it. We did not say anything to her. She never said anything to us. She just put it in place and was like, hey, if you can't get to the car at the same time as me, you're on the bus. And I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. She set a boundary. So I just want you to know that your actions will speak louder than words, and you are the one that has to model the healthy boundaries, not the trying to control people, but the healthy boundaries. And I just gave you some really good examples for life. And so go implement some of these. Go try some of these. Come back, leave me a review. Like, let me know. I would love to hear any of these that have worked for you. And I will talk to you next time.